Hello everybody, welcome. Thanks for joining me today. I'm really excited to introduce my very special guest. It's Marie. Marie's here with me today. She's going to help me with the leveling of the frame, and we're just going to talk about the techniques that it takes. And yeah, Marie, tell them a little bit about you.
Well, I do testing, product testing, and technical training, train the tech support team.
Yeah, she's awesome. And she's so much fun to work with, and we're always bouncing ideas off of each other, and she's very creative. She's a quilter, and she's helped us out so much, and we can't thank her enough for all that she does to help us improve our techniques and our products. So yeah, give her a round of applause or a thumbs up. So that'd be great. I'm not even going to have you put a number one because we all know she's number one in our books. So thank you for joining me today, and I'm really excited about showing you our 15 Pro on this frame here, and then I have my 15R on the little hoop frame. But before we get started with showing you the differences between the two and a little bit about how they sew and the stitch regulation, I promised you last week that we were going to talk about leveling our frames and the importance of getting the leveling correct and aligning the wheels to the tracks and the carriage and the machine. So we're going to jump in and start talking about that right now, but I'm going to have Marie explain to us why it's so important for us to stop and take these steps and, you know, get them correct before we start quilting.
Well, you don't want your machine moving on you while you're quilting, and you don't want to be fighting the machine, especially in the center where the joint is. You can tell when you're free motion quilting, if it's not level, you're going to fight with it.
Right. And there's a big tug of war when you get up and going. It's like it's going up a hill, and then all of a sudden you'll lose control, and you can't control the stitch or the way it's going to move. And so that's why it's really important for you to level your frame and your machine and your carriage, all of them. They coincide with each other, and they help each other out, and they'll help you as a quilter. So we're going to start over here on the hoop frame and talk about aligning, because this is the first thing that you will do. Before you level it side to side, front to back, you're going to align your track supports, and the track supports are these pieces right here. And we have the dual wheel on the long continuum frame. It's the dual wheel track support, and we have the single wheel on the hoop frames. And what it means to align the tracks with the wheels is if you tighten down these track supports all the way and you put your carriage on, the wheels may not connect and they might be off just a little bit. And so as you're moving across, you're going to feel those angles, and it's going to fight with you like Marie was talking about. So Marie, you want to walk us through it?
Sure.
Okay.
So first, when you get your frame going, you want the back track support to be flush with the frame.
And just 1 second. Flush is that this track support right here is aligned with the back leg all the way across.
And then you're going to just loosen the screws on the top of the track support. And they are loosened right now. And then you want to run your machine back and forth, and that helps the track support go in or out depending on your carriage wheels. Oops. And then then you want to tighten them down. As you're tightening them down, you want the machine next to the screw that you're tightening down. And then you just keep going along and get them all tight.
Yeah, and that helps the tracks align with the wheels. And that's where if you don't do this, you're going to see your tracks wear unevenly too.
And then start to crack too.
Yeah, they'll start to crack and wear, but just like your tires, you have to align your car with your new tires. The same thing with the machine and the frame. You have to do that alignment. And it doesn't cost you anything, just a little bit of labor. All right, so now that we have aligned the tracks to the bottom carriage that goes side to side, we're going to align the machine wheels. The machine wheels are right here to the top carriage. Well, it is the top carriage, but to the tracks on the bottom plate. So the tracks, this allows the machine to move side to side. Now, when you pull your machine out of the box, you're setting it on it, but you have to adjust those wheels. It's like going to the chiropractor or to the back doctor, I'll say, because some of you might not believe in chiropractors. But anyway, it's like going to the doctor and then all of a sudden have your back settle and become in alignment. And all those vertebrae just line up and you feel so good. Well, your machine's calling for that. So I'm going to show them how to align the wheels, and I'll give you the Allen wrench. This is the Allen wrench for the 15R that you're going to align the wheels.
Each wheel set will have a little black set screw in the back, and you're going to loosen that set screw. And when you loosen them, you want to loosen them on one side. You don't want to loosen all four, because then you're going to get your sewing machine out of aligned also, and it won't be square.
So it's just like the track supports. You remember, you're tightening down the back track supports and leaving the front loose. It's the same thing for the machine. You want to do one side, let it settle, and then retighten. And then if you have to, you can do the other side. But look at those wheels and make sure that they've settled down on the tracks and are rolling. It'll make a huge difference in how your machine sews front to back and side to side, and you'll find that it's smoother and you'll get a better stitch, and you won't be fighting with it at all. And your tracks and everything will last much longer. So that, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I loosened both of my wheels, and then I'm going to run my sewing machine back and forth, and it should settle all of your wheels, and then you'll want to tighten them back up. And then if you have a problem with the other side, you'll do the other side also. Again.
And it's not hard to do. You don't need to hire a handyman to do any of these steps. I just wanted Marie in here because I think she's great, and we work really well together, and I wanted you to see it's nice to have somebody to chat with while you're setting up your frame and your machine. So we're going to work together through the whole process. So now that we've got our tracks aligned, now we're going to jump over here to this frame over here and align our carriage, and we're going to level it. So you can see that it is, as I move my carriage, it's going to move down and back. So I've got some leveling to do. And we're doing this without a levels to show you how easy it is and how to level it, because you don't need a big long level to level it out. And a lot of us don't have access to it. So that's what we wanted to do, was to show you the process. So first things first. Okay. Well, you tell me what I'm going to do.
We're going to start on the left-hand side, and first thing we're going to make sure that it's not moving front to back.
Right.
This one is, so it is moving back. So we're going to want to adjust that back corner.
All right, and you're going to use your 17, whatever it is, Allen wrench. It's the widest Allen wrench. You got two in it. You got a smaller one and a larger one. With your frame, you're going to use this larger opening to align it. So as I'm raising it, so I'm going to raise it so it moves forward. So am I moving the leg clockwise or counterclockwise?
Well, you're going counterclockwise because you want to raise it.
Okay, so I thought it was clockwise. Hang on, we have our notes.
Counterclockwise to go up, right?
Okay, I have to read this. Where do they say? 3 sections, stay individually. All right, we're going to wing it. I'll tell you which way. So, I thought it was clockwise. Oh.
So there's 2 nuts down there.
Yeah.
One is to hold it when you get it level, so it doesn't go back down. You're going to use...
And you're going to raise each foot individually, right?
Yes, and you're going to go with the smaller nuts
The
to
smaller
raise it.
nuts?
Yeah, the one on the bottom.
Okay. That's the smaller side of my Allen wrench.
Yes.
I thought it was clockwise, but maybe it's not. Is it going up? It's going up now. It is clockwise.
How many turns did you go?
3.
Okay, so it's not moving back anymore. We're just
Okay.
moving to the side.
All right. So I raised that one. Now I have to go to the middle leg. And don't look at my big bum. Concentrate on the machine. Okay. I wore my dirty clothes because I knew I was crawling around under the frame, just like when I was a kid. Brings back lots of memories. Okay. So we moved it to the center. Which direction, Marie? Is it moving front or back?
It's going back just a tad.
Okay, so I need to raise my back leg up, right?
Your front leg up.
Oh,
No, you know, you're right. You're right.
Okay. So I just need to go clockwise. Oh, man. Somebody tighten this bugger down. Okay, I'm just going to go just a little bit. I went half. How's that?
Just a tiny bit more.
Okay, I'll just do a quarter this time. How's that?
It's looking good.
Okay. So now we're going to go over and do the other side.
Okay, you want to do your left side and then your right side.
Yeah. All right. And hopefully we're aligning it to the floor itself.
And you never want to take your machine all the way over to the edge of the machine. You want to level it for your quilting space, and you don't quilt clear over here. So we're going about a foot away. And it is moving back towards you, so you're going to need to raise that.
Okay, so I'm going to just turn this and raise this up. And I'm going to do 2 rotations, okay?
Yep,
Okay, how's that?
it's moving back still. So go another full rotation.
Okay. Okay. So do I need to raise?
It's a tiny bit back still.
Okay, so you just keep doing this in increments till it's not moving any longer. Okay, how's that? That was a half rotation.
That looks really good. A little bit, still just
A little bit
tad.
more?
Yep,
So another half.
yeah.
Okay, how's that?
So it's not moving backwards anymore, it's just moving to the right.
All right, so then we'll do our right and left
Mm-hmm.
in a second.
Because
Okay.
we're good on the back and
Okay.
front.
Yeah, so that's what you're going to do first. You're going to line it so that it's not moving front to back any longer because you're doing the leveling feet individually. Now, when we do the side to side, when I do one rotation with the back foot, I have to do the same thing to the front foot. That way, we're going to level it so it's not going to move side to side. And we're going to start over at the left again. And then we're going to move to the right, and we're going to keep the middle, leave the middle alone. Okay? So, and Marie's just going to tell me what to do. All right.
So it is moving into the middle,
Okay.
Which-
so we need to lower.
which technically you would lower it, this one is at its lowest position
Okay.
already.
The back one's not. Okay.
So we can't lower this, so we would want to raise the center a little.
Just a little. Okay. Which you want to try not to do, but when your floor's not level, you do what you have to do. Okay? So what I'm doing to the front foot, I'm going to do the same exact rotation to the back foot. All right? So I'm going to start here with my Allen wrench. I always started it at like whatever o'clock, okay? That it fit in. And I'm going to go all the way around. Oh my gosh, who tightened these? Oh, see? Those vitamins are really coming in handy today. All right, there's one rotation. Now I'm going to go and do the back. You don't want to do more than one because you're doing them one at a time. Okay. Now, do we still need to do more?
Yes.
Okay. One more rotation, or do I do?
Yes.
Okay.
It's moving quite a bit, so.
It's still moving quite a bit. Should I do two? Now we'll just do one at a time.
Let's do one, be in the center. We don't want we don't want the center post to be too high.
Okay, there's one more.
Because then it will be, okay, that looks good.
All right, see? As easy as that. Okay, now let's move it to this side. And hopefully as that one's raised, we won't have as much.
It didn't move at all.
All right. Hey, that's it.
Oh, just a tiny bit.
Now you don't have to crawl around on the floor any longer.
Now it is moving.
Oh, it is, okay.
When I put the machine back, it's moving.
Okay, so I really,
Move the
it's
machine
moving
more.
that direction, so I do
Yeah.
really need to raise this side just a
Correct.
little bit.
Yeah.
All right, just a little though.
Yeah, not much.
Okay, so I'm just gonna put it down here and raise it. I'm gonna do one rotation. Okay, and one more. Okay, how's that?
Still a little bit.
Okay. And you just keep doing this till you have a level. Okay. How's that?
Still drifting.
Just a little.
A little.
Maybe just a half a turn.
Yeah.
Half and half. Okay. Oh, so close. Maybe just another half turn. Okay. Oh, just so close. Just a quarter and a quarter. Okay. I think it's pretty dang good.
Yeah.
See, guys, we did it. I was going to say no hands, but we used our hands.
But
no
level.
feet.
And no level.
And no level. But, you know, really, that's all it really takes is just use the machine and the carriage to be your guide and just level those feet. And once you know the correct direction to level them, it's easy. It really is. And once you get that front to back done, then it's easy to do the side to side.
And if you have automation on, make sure your belts are loose because
important.
the belts are going to the machine won't drift as much.
And unplug the machine,
Yeah.
okay? Because the cord's going to drag. Yes, we kept ours in. We should have unplugged it. But all those cords are going to add that extra layer and pull on it. And you don't want it pulling with the cords because you want it to be freely moving side to side so you're adjusting it. So nice. That was easier than I thought, and it went faster than I thought too. So, any questions, Bryant? Oh, we did so well. You guys don't have any questions whatsoever. That's awesome.
Because everyone's frames are leveled up.
That's right. Anyway, we're going to jump in now and show you the 15 Pro and the 15R and a little bit of the differences and the stitch regulation. So, yeah, so let's jump in and start showing you that. We'll have this written up so that you kind of have a step-by-step of what we did, so that if you are finding it confusing and you can't remember all the steps, this will be rebroadcast, okay? And and Amy says, thanks so much for showing us the leveling. I've been noticing a lot of pull and drag, and I know this will help. You're right, it really will. So and hello, Vicki, welcome. So all of those, this will be rebroadcast, just know that, and we'll have the notes written up so that you can pull them off the site and follow the directions and then just follow the video too. So I hope we made it look really simple. Yeah, so thanks, Marie, for your help. I really appreciate it, and you'll see her again. We're going to have her as a special guest often over here. So thanks, Marie. Well, I'm going to jump in. I didn't put the quilt on because I wanted you to have a clear showing of the leveling of the frame. But you will notice a huge difference once you have your frame level and your carriages level. So let me jump in and let's talk about the 15R machine. I showed you the manual machine last week and how much fun it was, and that it was just a nice step or a nice upgrade from your domestic machine because it allowed you to use the buttons on the handles, and you got the screen. You had the option of the needle up, needle down using the buttons, and you had the stitch regulation with the buttons right at your hand. You didn't have to use the foot pedal to control it. You just kind of get your mojo and find your speed and you're good to go. Well, this is the 15R, and the 15R has the stitch regulation. And since I don't have a quilt on, I can really hone in and show you the encoders and where they plug in. And so that's what I'm going to jump over here and do. I'm going to walk back here. And the encoders, remember I talked to you about stitch regulation, and the encoders sense the movement. So they have a little board inside of them that as you're moving front to back, side to side, it senses your movement and it kicks in and tells the machine now, oh, okay, she's moving faster, it needs to sew faster. So it speeds it up and then it slows it down. However, you can max out the stitch regulation very easily if you're pulling your machine back and forth, side to side really, really fast. So you just need to learn to find your groove and your quilting groove. We're going to call it that. And then once you have that, you just become smoother and it may take a minute every time you start a new quilt to get that groove, because each quilt's a little different and you're quilting a different design. Even with the automation, you kind of have to get your groove and get past those first steps of getting started. And once you're past those first steps, you're kind of in that zone and in that groove. So let's just jump back here, okay? And this, can I step in front of this camera here, Maria? Okay. All right. You've already seen me on the floor. I'm from behind, okay? So anyway, this is the top encoder right here. And it has a little spring in it that it wants to spring down towards the tracks. So if your encoders are not springing down and you can't hear that little, if it doesn't have that spring down onto the track, then it's too loose and it's not going to sense the movement very well. And you're going to either need to tighten up the spring or fix the collar so that it is. It's just really important for that wheel to be riding along the tracks. So if you're moving along and this wheel all of a sudden gets caught and it lifts up off the tracks, you're going to get long stitches. It's not going to sense the movement any longer. And on the bottom encoder, you can see that we have a sure stitch encoder and a sewing machine encoder. We're awesome around here. Anyway, that encoder O-ring can work its way off as it's going back and forth, side to side. So all of a sudden, it's just really important that before you start sewing that you're checking out your encoders and making sure that they're sensing your movement and feeling it. So it's going side to side. And make sure that your cords are out of the way and they're not going to get caught. If they get caught behind the carriage and you're trying to move it forward, it can cause you not to be able to quilt as far as you can, and they'll just catch. So make sure that you also have them plugged into the correct port. And that's important as well. And so just some little pointers on this. And the 15R sews 1,800 stitches per minute. It is a great step up from the 15 manual machine because of that stitch regulation. So if you start out with the 15M, you can purchase just the stitch regulation and add that to it. There are a lot of perks with the 15R. Besides the stitch regulation, you get 3 modes of stitching, and I'm going to show those modes to you on the 15 Pro, and we're going to sew a little bit with the 15 Pro. So the 15R is a wonderful introductory machine to get you a little more advanced features to long arm quilting and get you comfortable for that next step in your quilting journey. It has that larger throat. And it's also not intimidating. I love the 15-inch machine because it's not this big, grand long arm, and it's very comfortable to quilt with. This here is our 15 Pro machine. You can see that it's a lot like the 15R, but it has some additional features. It has a touch screen, so you can touch it and change the modes. So these are the modes that you get with the 15R, but you don't get the touch screen. You just get a regular screen, and so if you wanted to change modes, you're using your buttons on your handles. So right here is our touch screen, and if I just touch it, right now we're in regulated precise, and I've showed you what regulated precise does as you're moving, the needle is moving up and down, but if you stop moving, the needle's going to stop. It's not going to move any longer. And so that's regulated precise, and then we can move over to cruise. Cruise, the needle is constantly going up and down. And I'll show you all 3 of these. I just wanted to introduce them to you. If you haven't tried cruise mode, I challenge you to do it. I love the options and the ability to be able to use all these different modes. It's like using the different feet and using different rulers. They help you create beautiful quilting designs, and they allow you the ability. This frame I'm standing in front of, Bonnie, is the Continuum 2 frame that I'm standing in front of. And then we have our little Q-Zone hoop frame right here. So welcome, and better late than never. So thank you for joining us. So anyway, this cruise mode constantly keeps stitching. Now, there's a debate out there with which mode you use for which designs. Okay, I have a different philosophy, and you may as well have that different philosophy, one that's different than mine. That's why I challenge you to try the different modes and see how you like to quilt with them in. So regulated precise, because when you stop, the machines or the needle stops. I like it for quilting designs that you come into a point, like a spiral, or a spiral that has a point in the middle, or flames, or triangles, or straight lines. I like that with regulated precise. Now, regulated cruise, because the needle is constantly going up and down, and it's not going to stop. So you don't want to leave it in one place too long, or you're going to build up a bird's nest underneath your quilt. So it's going to allow you to have extra stitches as you're going around your curves. So I like to use that mode when I'm quilting pebbles, because I think it gives me a nicer look on the pebbles, and others don't. So just try them. And then there's manual mode. I just taught a class this last week, and I thought a lot of ladies would like manual mode, and they didn't. And I love manual mode. It's just another avenue for me to quilt with the way I like to quilt, and so try them, and try them all in the different perspective of designs. So try them all with the same design and see how you like to quilt and what your style is. So that's what we're exploring, is how you like to quilt, not how Carla likes to quilt. She knows how she likes to quilt. So you're just exploring opportunities and avenues to find your group. So let's turn on the machine, and let me just show you. We have a base mode. Now, there's another debate out there. A lot of ladies like based. I don't think you need to baste everything, and it just takes you out of your regular mode. I will turn my stitch length down to like 6 and make it a larger stitch. I think that's just as easy as going to baste mode. So you quilt how you like to quilt. I just don't opt to use baste all the time, okay? And then manual, and then we're back to, I just want to make this go down because that's pretty high speed as manual. It was at 100. I can't quilt 100. That's too fast. And this is a faster machine. This is 2,000 stitches per inch, this 15 Pro. It's just a fun machine. All these machines are fun, but you know me, I like quilting. So let's start out in manual, okay, right now. I have it at 35 because this is a faster machine. So I'm just gonna bring my thread up, and I'm just going to turn it on and show you. And then it has extra little features. So these are presets. Let me just show you the screen a little bit more. These are little presets that you can set. Then you have a little needle jog. So you can jog your needle down to find your start and stop point a lot quicker, a lot faster. And then you have your overspeed. Overspeed, if you're starting out with quilting and you're just jumping into a mid to long arm, it's a nice feature to have because it helps you control your movement speed. Overspeed, if you start moving the carriage or the machine faster than it can sew, it'll start beeping at you and tell you, oh, you're moving it too fast, slow it down. So it's good to have on for a little while, and then you kind of get into that movement and you'll understand how it works, and you'll find your speeds, and like I said, you'll find your little groove and you'll be able to quilt really well with that. But try the overspeed if you're just jumping in, trying to learn your machine until you get to that point that you're understanding where your setting is, okay? We're going to say that you have a setting on you as you're moving it back and forth, front to back. It's really important for you to find your setting, as well as setting the different settings on the machine. So it may be at different points. And so, and Vicki Edwards, she said, what did she say? I says, I love that it's stupid proof. I don't know if it's stupid proof because you know me, I've made a lot of stupid mistakes. But anyway, learn from me. But use that overspeed just to get to understand and know, and then you'll want to turn it off. And it's just as easy as touching the button to turn it on and turn it off. So let's turn it on, okay, so that you can hear it scream at me. And I have it in manual mode, and I have it at 35%. Now, as I'm quilting, I may find that my design, I know it really well, and I may want to raise my SPI, my stitches per inch up. And then, because I'm moving it much faster, I may want to move it and turn it up so it's sewing faster. Okay, so just know that you can change the stitch length as you're quilting by just using the buttons, okay? So that was manual mode, lots of fun. And then I'm just going to touch it. And now I'm going to go into regulated precise, all right? So now, because of the stitch regulation, you're going to hear the overspeed, okay? Well, I'm not outrunning it yet, so I must have found my little groove. But you'll see it turn red. Hear that? I'm running it so fast, but it's a faster machine. It takes a lot to outrun this little machine. 2,000 is pretty fast. And for our 21 Pro, that is a really fast machine. So it's hard to outrun it. Okay, and you heard the overspeed come on. Not something that you want to do very often because it can get very annoying. And then that was regulated precise, and then we just have regulated cruise. So with regulated cruise, you have your minimum speed, and that's the speed that the needle will go up and down. So if you do not know your design, you want your needle to go up and down slow. But if you know your design, you maybe want it to pick up the speed a little faster, so you'll raise that minimum speed. Let me take you into the settings. So this little wheel right here is the settings on the 15 Pro. So you can change your settings from inches to centimeter for all our international people. You can change it from a full stitch to a half stitch, or vice versa. So a full stitch is when you press on the needle down, the needle goes down and back up, all in one swoop. A half stitch is it goes down, and then you have to press it again, press the button again for it to come back up. I really like the half stitch because that's what I'm used to. Full stitch kind of, it gets me confused because it's so fast. It goes down and up so quick. But a lot of ladies like that, so now you have the opportunity with the 15 Pro to choose which one you like. And then you can change it from right to left-handed. You can change your screen settings. On the screens, you can change the colors. That's a lot of fun too. And you'll find information in the manual inside here under the eye. So a lot of great features to the 15 Pro, besides it being a faster machine. It's just so much fun. And then you can set the needle up, needle down. You can set it up in the down position or the up position. So just know and call. If you want to have more information on pricing on any of the machines and you're a little confused, we have local dealers around, and we will let you know where your nearest dealer is. And Cassandra is asking, can you show me how to stitch at the beginning of a design and bring up your bobbin thread? Yes, I'd love to. Great question. All right, so let me cut it off. Okay, so I just ended right here on this, and so I pulled my machine back and I made a big long tail underneath, okay? So you pull it away from where you stop stitching to make a tail on top and on bottom. And now I'm gonna pull it back to where I stitched my last stitch and align my needle. And if you want to be really exact, that's where your needle jog comes in really nice, so it can jog down. And then you can just keep doing it, and it's going to pull it back up. And then I could pull up my bottom thread. I didn't give it all a rotation. There we go. You have to have it do its full rotation, so that's why it's good to do it. Then I'm just going to cut my thread, okay? But when I'm starting, I'm going to start over here and say this little line right here is the top of my block that I want to start with. And so what I'm going to do is try to get my needle as close as possible. Then I'm going to pull my needle down, and then I'm going to put my thread, insert my needle to pull up my bottom thread, okay? Once I've pulled it, I'm going to move my needle back, okay, to where it's pulled up and where you can see it to start sewing. Now, you can do a little tie-off stitch by just doing a little needle down and just barely move it, and that's your little tie-off stitch, okay? Now you're ready to start sewing, and you'll just turn your machine on. And then you're going to start quilting. All right, and so I'm getting down to the bottom, and I'm going to stop right here. All right, I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to tie off. You want to do your little tie off, okay? And now I'm going to pull it towards me or away from me to make my tail. And then I'm going to move it back, and I'm going to insert my needle down where I pulled it up and just pull it up and cut it off. And you're ready to move to your next section. That's all there is to it. Not anything difficult. It's just a matter of practice. And the more you practice, the better you'll get. Any more questions before we wrap it up? Okay, Donna is asking, is there any info on the Tin Lizzie 18 like you're doing with this machine? I am sorry, there is not. Tin Lizzie, back in the day, it was a good machine. However, they have gone out of business. And so it's really hard to find information or to find encoders or dealers that are supporting them. Unfortunately, they're one of those companies that have gone by the wayside, and it's really sad to see them go, but it's one of those unfortunate events. If any tips on the correct frame height? In your instructions, it will give you some pointers for the correct frame height for you, but let me just give you my theory, okay? If you have the automation, really you want it up a little higher, okay? Even though you're setting your points, it just is a little nicer and a little easier. If you're free motion quilting, you don't want your arms up here, and you don't want to be bending over like this. So you don't want it too low or too high. So we kind of have a standard here where we go up 5 holes on each of the legs, and that's kind of our standard height. If you and your husband are quilting together, find a happy medium to work with. I had a cute little lady here the other day that she was very petite and her husband was very tall. So they kind of like to quilt together, so they're going to have to find a happy medium. I'm sure I'll probably set it with her for her height, because it can get really hard, especially the longer the machine is, and that's why those extended handles, and I'll show you next week on the 19, are really nice, because you can pull them towards you and make the quilting that much easier. But if the automation, it's not going to matter so much because you're not standing there free motion quilting. But with free motion quilting, you want this to be at belly height. This is what they call the belly bar. It's not for you to lean on it with your belly, because it will distort your design. But this actually is set pretty tall, even for me, and I'm 5'6". So I would have it go down maybe 1 to 2 screw holes on the legs, and right here are the holes on the legs that you're going to adjust it. So they do give you some measurements in there, so read your instructions. I can't stress enough how important it is for when you get the machine, you get the frame, read the instructions first before you start setting it up. And then pull out all your parts, make sure they're all there. Those are just really important, but you'll make it yours, and you're just going to have the time of your life. I hope that today's been very helpful, and I look forward to next week, because I'm bringing up the 19-inch, and I'm going to go into show you all the little details on it, and I'm very excited. But thank you for joining Marie and I today, and thank you for sticking around and listening to me go on about the machines, because you know that's what I love. And so I'll see you next week at 1 o'clock Mountain Time. Please take care, and if you have any questions or need any help with anything, let us know. That's what we're here for. You have our 800 number. Go to graceframe.com or email me. You know, it's Carla with a K at graceframe.com. I'm here for you, and any suggestions, send them my way. Please take care, and I'll see you next week. Bye.